Earth was quiet that night. The sky looked normal, the ocean slow, and the cities bright with their usual lights. But deep below the surface, inside the biggest underground science base ever built, something strange was happening. Something humanity had never tried before. Dr. Kian, one of Earth's top communication scientists, stood in front of a huge circular machine. It was made of shining silver plates, glowing blue rings, and thousands of tiny energy cells. This machine was Earth's newest invention, the Star Reacher, a device powerful enough to send a message across millions of light years. For years, Earth argued about whether they should try to contact alien life. Some believed aliens might be friendly. Others feared aliens would destroy Earth. But the leaders finally agreed on one thing: we reach out in peace. Tonight, humanity was going to send a message of peace into the universe. Dr. Kian checked the signal one last time. It was simple and clear, written in many languages so that any intelligent species could understand. We are from Earth. We are peaceful. We seek friendship. His hands were shaking, not because he was scared, but because he knew this one message could change the future of every human on the planet. Around him, dozens of scientists sat at their stations. Their screens glowed with maps of the galaxy, long-distance waveforms, and energy calculations. Everyone was silent. Everyone was waiting. Nobody knew what would happen. Outside the underground base, reporters gathered. Soldiers guarded the entrance. Billions of people watched live streams from home. The whole world held its breath. Dr. Kian raised his hand. "Start the Star Reacher," he said calmly. The machine hummed. The floors vibrated. Blue energy coils spun faster and faster, lighting up the entire chamber. A loud crack of static filled the air. "Signal ready," the operator announced. Dr. Kian nodded. "Send it." A beam of light shot upward, passing through the base, through the Earth's crust, and into the sky. In a second, the message left Earth's atmosphere and rushed into deep space like a bright arrow fired into darkness. People began to cheer. Some cried. Some prayed. Some recorded the moment on their phones even though they knew the whole world was watching anyway. Dr. Kian exhaled and wiped sweat from his forehead. "It's done," he whispered to himself. But he didn't know yet. Something was already answering. Not minutes later. Not seconds later. 7 seconds. Exactly 7 seconds after Earth's message left the planet. A reply came back. A reply that should have been impossible. The operator stared at his screen, his face turning pale. "Sir, we're receiving an incoming signal." "That's not possible," Dr. Kian said. "Nothing can respond that fast. The message hasn't even left our solar system yet." But the screen didn't lie. A new waveform was appearing, sharp, strong, and close. Too close. The operator swallowed hard. "It's coming from right above us." The scientists froze. Something was in Earth's orbit. Dr. Kian rushed to the control screen and hit the audio channel. "Translate it," he ordered. The translation machine beeped. The waveform became a sound, cold, metallic, and smooth. 3 words. "Do not continue." Every scientist stared at the speakers. Someone whispered, "What does that mean?" Another asked, "Are they warning us?" Dr. Kian's voice trembled for the first time in his career. "This can't be real. We don't even know who sent that." Across the world, the message hit every broadcast screen. News channels replayed it again and again. "Do not continue. Do not continue. Do not continue." People panicked. Some ran to shelters. Some shut off their TVs. Some believed aliens were coming to destroy Earth. Others said it was just a glitch. Earth's leaders argued for hours. But at last they made a decision. Earth would send a second message. Because if they stopped now, humanity would forever live in fear. Dr. Kian hated the idea, but he followed the orders. His team prepared a new message. "We do not wish conflict. We only seek peace." The second message was sent. And that was the moment everything changed. That night, something strange happened to Earth's sky. All satellites blinked at the same time. GPS signals broke for 10 full seconds. Every telescope on Earth went offline. Even weather balloons fell from the sky. It was like something huge had moved across the orbit, something massive enough to touch every satellite at once. Inside the science base, warnings flashed red. Unknown object detected, the radar officer shouted. It's above Earth. It's large, very large, but we cannot see it. Put it on the main screen, Dr. Kian yelled. The radar image appeared. It showed a huge dark shape. No edges, no heat, no metal signature, just a giant shadow, floating in the upper atmosphere. It's invisible, one scientist whispered. Hours passed. The shadow didn't move. It didn't attack. It didn't respond. It just stayed there like it was watching. Dr. Kian ran every scan possible. Optical, thermal, magnetic, radiation, it showed up on none of them. What are you? He murmured. Then suddenly, all the lights in the control room flickered. Every screen turned black. The speakers crackled. A voice filled the air. Not loud, but powerful. Not angry, but cold. You wished for peace. Everyone froze. The voice continued. Now you meet the real monsters. Darkness swallowed the room. The machines shut down. The scientists couldn't breathe from fear. No one dared to move. Dr. Kian whispered, Monsters? What monsters? Who are you? But there was no answer. Only silence. Silence so deep, it felt like something outside the planet was holding its breath too. The shadow in orbit began to shift, slowly shaping itself, like a creature stretching in the dark. And Earth realized the peace message had awakened something. Something not friendly, not kind, not peaceful. Something watching, something waiting, something hungry. And as the shadow moved for the first time, the radar officer screamed. It's not one shadow. There are multiple. They are surrounding Earth. The world thought sending a peace message would bring friendship. They were wrong. It had brought the monsters. The shadows moved together, closing around the planet like giant dark wings. No one on Earth could see them with their eyes, but the radar screens showed everything. The shapes were huge, bigger than any spaceship humans had ever imagined. Inside the underground base, alarms kept ringing. Dr. Kian stared at the monitors, unable to understand how something so big could remain invisible. The radar officer's hands shook as he zoomed in on the shadow closest to Earth. Sir, it's changing shape again. The image on the screen twisted, stretched, and curved. It didn't look like a ship. It didn't look like a machine. It looked alive. Dr. Kian whispered, This is not technology. This is something else. The scientists around him kept tapping their screens, trying to make the shape clearer, but every time they ran a new scan, the shadow changed again. It was like it was adapting to every sensor, hiding from every angle. Outside the base, the sky remained normal. People around the world looked up and saw nothing unusual. Kids played in parks, families cooked dinners, and news channels filled the television with speculation. But above them, beyond their sight, silent giants watched Earth closely, waiting. Dr. Kian turned to the team. We need to send probes. Maybe drones can see what our eyes can't. The technicians launched 20 high-speed drones into orbit. Each drone lifted off from hidden launch pads around the world. Their cameras connected to the base, giving live feeds as they approached the shadows. For a moment, everything looked normal. The drones flew through the atmosphere, then reached orbit. Stars shone behind them. Engine lights glowed softly. Then suddenly, one by one, every drone disappeared. No flash, no explosion, no sound, just gone. The screens in the control room blinked from clear video to static. The room erupted into panic. What happened? Where did they go? Are the shadows attacking? Dr. Kian raised his voice, trying to keep calm. We need to control our fear. Think, observe. Something is here, but it's not showing itself fully. Why? A young scientist pointed to the radar screen. Look, the shadows aren't coming closer. They are just watching us. That made the room go silent. Watching. Why would something hide if it wanted to attack? Why warn Earth with a message first? Before anyone could answer, a second signal arrived. It was stronger than the first, shaking the speakers with its power. The translation software broke twice before giving a clear result. The message said, "Your peace signal woke the hunters. We followed to protect you." The scientists froze. Dr. Kian felt his heart stop for a moment. Protect? The shadows were protectors? The base commander frowned. But if they are protecting us, why did they destroy the drones? Dr. Kian answered softly, "Maybe they see our technology as a threat. Or maybe they do not want us to see what they look like." The room felt colder. The idea that something so huge, so powerful, wanted to stay unseen made everyone uncomfortable. The message repeated 3 more times. "The hunters are coming. Stay silent. We protect the weak." The phrase "the weak" cut through the room like a knife. Earth weak? Humans prey? Before anyone could react, the radar alarm screamed again. A new object had appeared on the outer edge of Earth's orbit. This one was not a shadow. It was bright. It was burning. It was coming fast. The technicians zoomed in and gasped. A massive shape tore through space, leaving trails of red and orange fire behind it. Its form looked sharp, jagged, almost like a giant bone covered in living metal. It moved with unnatural speed, shaking the atmosphere around it. The base commander whispered, "What is that?" The radar officer answered in a terrified voice, "The hunters. They are real." Earth's satellites shook as the burning object flew past them. The entire world felt a slight vibration as if something enormous had brushed against the planet. Then more objects appeared. 5, 10, 15. An entire fleet of burning creatures entered orbit. Each one shaped differently. Some long like serpents, some wide like beasts, some sharp like broken blades. But they were not silent. The speakers filled with a sound so horrible, so raw, it made everyone cover their ears. It was like a scream mixed with a growl mixed with something no human had ever heard before. The hunters had arrived. They were loud. They were angry. They were hungry. And Earth finally understood the true danger. Dr. Kian shouted over the alarms. "Where are the shadows? Where are the protectors? Why aren't they doing anything?" Then the shadows moved. Slowly at first. Then faster. Then incredibly fast. Faster than any human ship. One shadow slid between Earth and the nearest hunter. The hunter stopped as if surprised. The protector shadow grew larger, bending the light around it, forming a strange, swirling shape like a giant storm made of nothing. The hunter roared and charged. The protector did not attack back. It simply absorbed the attack. The burning creature slammed into the shadow and vanished. Everyone in the control room stepped back at the same time. Dr. Kian whispered, "This is not a battle. This is something older. Something we do not understand." More hunters moved in. More shadows blocked them. The sky above Earth turned into a silent war. Silent because none of it made sound in space. Silent because Earth's microphones could only hear strange energy waves. Silent because the real battle was happening too fast for human eyes. News channels around the world suddenly went black as the protector's shadows crossed communication satellites. Across every screen, a new message appeared. "Do not fear us. Fear what follows." The message faded. The world went dark. People around the planet screamed and ran to shelters. Some prayed. Some cried. Some stood frozen, unsure if humanity had reached its end or its beginning. Dr. Kian clenched the table. "We need to tell the world what is happening." The base commander shook his head. "We can't. The shadows shut down all communication. They want silence." Kian replied, "Why? What do they want us to do?" Before anyone could answer, new words appeared on the main screen. "Prepare. The real war starts now." The scientists stared at the message. Was this another warning? Another threat? Another clue? But before they could think deeper, the lights flickered. The ground shook. Every radar alarm screamed at once. A new hunter had entered orbit. Bigger than all others. Stronger. Faster. More violent. And it wasn't looking at the protectors. It was staring directly at Earth. The giant hunter turned toward Earth, its burning eyes locking on the planet as if choosing its next prey. The creature's body glowed like molten rock, cracks of red fire running across its skin. It looked alive, furious, and unstoppable. Inside the underground base, the room fell silent. No one breathed. No one moved. Everyone just watched the radar as the massive shape drifted closer to Earth. Dr. Kian felt a cold shiver run down his spine. This one, it's different. The radar officer nodded slowly. Yes, this one is not scanning Earth. It's targeting Earth. The hunter opened its jaws, and bright energy gathered inside its throat. An unstable, violent light, like a star being crushed. The creature was preparing an attack powerful enough to destroy a continent. The base commander shouted, "Where are the shadows? Why are the protectors not stopping it?" Before anyone could answer, the screens flickered again. A faint shape moved behind the giant hunter, another shadow, but smaller than the others. It hovered like a silent ghost. The hunter noticed it and roared, shaking even the underground base with the force of its energy wave. But the shadow didn't move, simply stood there, watching. The giant hunter launched a beam of burning light toward the shadow. The energy shot through space like a flaming comet, but the shadow absorbed it as if it was drinking water. No explosion, no force, no damage. The hunter froze, shocked that its strongest attack did nothing. Dr. Kian whispered, "The protectors, they're not fighting, they're testing the hunters." But the hunters had no patience. More hunters appeared behind their leader, forming a ring around the giant creature. Their bodies cracked with fire, their mouths dripping molten energy. They moved together, preparing a combined strike. In the control room, the fear was almost physical. These things weren't here to scare Earth. They were here to wipe Earth out. The giant hunter gave a roar so loud it made the speakers crack. Then all hunters fired at once, releasing a storm of burning beams toward the shadow. This time, the shadow shifted. It unfolded. What humans thought was a cloud or a shape suddenly stretched out into something more structured. Something massive, elegant, and terrifying. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a creature. It was something in between. A living being made of bending space, glowing lines, and stretched dimensions. It had no solid form. Its body looked like liquid darkness shaped into wings, with glowing blue veins running through it. The scientists stared with wide eyes. One whispered, "It's beautiful." Another murmured, "And deadly." The protector unleashed its power. A silent wave of distorted space pulsed outward. The hunter's beams bent away like they were made of cloth, swirling into harmless arcs before dissolving into sparks. The hunters tried attacking again. The protector moved faster. Space itself twisted around the creature's wings, bending light and sound. And then, the first hunter vanished. Not exploded, not burned, not torn apart. It simply disappeared, erased from reality. The control room erupted into gasps. What did it do? Where did the hunter go? Is it dead? Dr. Kian answered slowly, "No, it didn't die. The protector moved it out of this dimension." The base commander stepped back. "You're saying it sent the monster somewhere else?" "Yes, it didn't kill the hunter. It removed it." The hunters shrieked with rage. Their combined roars filled the speakers with static. They attacked again and again, but the protector moved like a ghost, like a storm, like something that didn't follow the laws of physics. Every time a hunter touched its shadow wings, another one vanished. 3, 5, 8. The sky above Earth became a battlefield of disappearing monsters. But something was wrong. More hunters were coming. Far more. The radar screen zoomed out, and the scientists saw something that made their hearts stop. A portal was opening on the far edge of the solar system. A crack in space, wide, red, and burning like the mouth of a volcano. Hundreds of hunter shapes were gathering behind it, waiting to enter. The base commander whispered, "How many are there?" The radar officer couldn't speak at first. His voice shook like he was freezing. "Sir, thousands." The room went silent. Earth had never faced even one creature like this before. Now an entire army was preparing to invade. Dr. Kian grabbed the table. "We need to warn the shadows, the protectors. They don't know how many are coming." But before anyone could send a message, all screens went black. Electricity flickered. Lights dimmed. A voice filled the room again. Calm, cold, and echoing. "We know." It was the protectors. "You do not understand the danger." The shadows outside moved together, forming a giant circle around the planet, as if building a barrier. "The hunters are not after your world. They hunger for your message." Dr. Kian froze. "Our message? The peace signal." The voice continued. "Your message is rare. It calls to ancient beings. It calls to predators. Many civilizations died before you." A deep silence followed. Then the voice added, "We came only because you are young, because you still have a chance." Earth had been saved not because it was powerful, but because it was weak enough to pity. The protectors were not friends, not enemies, not gods. They were something in between, older, stronger, and burdened by knowledge humans could never understand. But the hunters were still coming. The sky flashed red as the portal widened. The radar officer screamed, "Sir, the hunters are entering." Multiple signatures. Hundreds. Earth's orbit is being surrounded. Dr. Kian spoke through trembling breaths. "Protectors, what do we do?" The voice replied, "You survive. We fight. But you must choose a side." The screens lit back up. Outside Earth, the stars were fading behind the fire of 1,000 approaching hunters. The protectors began to unfold their full forms, gigantic beings of bending light and gravity, ready to face the storm. But Earth understood the truth. This was not a simple battle. This was the beginning of something much bigger. And Earth's message was the reason it started. The room became silent after the alien guard said, "Now, you meet the real monsters." General Reed stood still, his heart beating fast. Dr. Hannah felt her hands shaking, but she forced herself to look brave. Outside the glass window, deeper in the station, shadows moved like something huge was waking up. The alien guard walked closer and spoke again in a calm, slow voice. "Those monsters are not us." Reed exchanged a confused look with Hannah. The guard continued, "We will show you what the galaxy fears. Then you will understand why your planet must unite. Why peace is needed. Why an army is needed." Then he walked toward the door at the far end of the room, an armored door thicker than anything they had seen. It looked almost like a prison gate. The door opened with a loud metallic sound, and behind it was a dark tunnel. No lights, only a cold wind blowing through it. The guard motioned them forward. "Come, but step slowly. They can feel vibrations." Reed frowned. "They?" The guard didn't answer. He only walked deeper into the tunnel. Hannah whispered to Reed, "This is not looking like a peace meeting anymore." Reed whispered back, "Stay behind me. No sudden moves." They followed the guard for almost a minute in silence. Every step echoed. Small drops of water fell somewhere in the dark. The smell was strange, like burnt metal mixed with something rotten. Then suddenly lights turned on. Not bright lights, just long, dim red lights on the floor and ceiling. Enough to see the walls. But what they saw on the walls stopped them where they stood. Claw marks, deep ones. Some scratches were more than a foot long. Dr. Hannah stepped back automatically. "These are huge." Reed touched one of the marks with his finger. The metal was torn like paper. "These creatures are strong," he muttered. The guard continued walking. "Strong? No. Strength is nothing. These monsters have something worse." Reed asked, "What?" The guard looked back, his blue eyes dimming. "Brains." Before Reed could say anything, a loud thud echoed from the darkness ahead. Then another, like something walking slowly, heavily. Thud, thud, thud. Reed placed a hand on his gun. The guard raised a hand quickly. "Do not touch your weapon. If you do, you will die first." Reed froze. The guard whispered, "They smell fear. They love fear." Then the creature stepped into the red light. At first, all they saw was a tall shadow. Then it leaned forward, and its shape became clear. It was not like any alien they saw before. It was tall, more than 9 feet. Its skin was dark, almost black, with sharp bone-like lines running across the chest. Its eyes were white, glowing, but empty, like a dead animal. Its mouth stretched wider than a human mouth could, full of long jagged teeth. Dr. Hannah felt her legs weaken. "What is that?" The guard spoke quietly. "It is called a Drexen, predator species. They destroyed 14 worlds in 100 years. Reed swallowed hard. "And they're still alive?" The guard nodded. "Alive, expanding, hunting." The Drexen leaned forward and sniffed the air, like a wolf sensing prey. Reed whispered to Hannah, "Don't breathe fast. Slow, slow." The Drexen growled, a deep vibrating sound that shook the air. Then it slowly walked in circles, studying them like testing their reactions. The guard stood calmly. They were not always monsters, but their world fell, their minds cracked, and what remained was hunger. Endless hunger. The creature suddenly stopped walking and stared directly at Hannah. Her heartbeat raced. She froze. The Drexen opened its mouth slightly, its breath hot and heavy. The guard stepped forward and raised a glowing blue device. "In my world," he said, "this device controls them, but only barely." The Drexen growled again, louder. The guard pressed a button. A high-frequency sound echoed. The Drexen stepped back slowly, shaking its head. Then it retreated into the shadows. Hannah gasped and finally breathed again. "Why did you show us this?" The guard turned to them with a serious expression. "Because Earth is next." Reed blinked. "Next? Why Earth? We're not part of any war." The guard shook his head. "War? No. The Drexen do not start wars. They do not negotiate. They do not send warnings. They only follow one thing." "And what is that?" Reed asked. The guard turned toward the tunnel exit. "Signals." Reed frowned. "Signals." The guard continued walking. Reed and Hannah followed him back toward the control room. Once they reached the bright room again, the guard pressed a panel. A hologram appeared in front of them. It showed a giant map of the galaxy, stars, planets, routes. A red line was blinking. The line pointed directly toward Earth. The guard said, 68 days ago, someone from Earth sent a signal, a deep space signal, a loud one, strong enough to attract them." Hannah's eyes widened. "But Earth sends signals all the time." The guard shook his head. "Not this one. This signal was powerful, old, and forbidden. It came from your planet's southern hemisphere." Reed felt confused. "Who sent it? Which country?" The guard looked directly at him. "It was not sent by a country, General Reed." He paused. "It was sent from an underground place on Earth. A place your governments pretend does not exist." Reed stared at him, stunned. "What place?" The guard looked at the hologram, zoomed in, zoomed more, until the map showed a location on Earth. A location Reed recognized immediately. A place no civilian ever hears about. A place known only to a small group of elite leaders. And the guard spoke the name. Project Echo 9 Facility. Reed stepped back, shocked. "That place? That is impossible. Echo 9 hasn't been active for." The guard interrupted. "Someone activated it. Someone sent the signal. Someone called the monsters." Hannah whispered, "But who would do that?" The guard's eyes narrowed. "That is your mystery to solve. But we will help you, if you accept the truth." Reed asked, "What truth?" The guard stepped closer. "The real monsters are not only in space." He pointed at Earth. "Some are on your world." And then the lights in the station flickered once, twice. Then all power cut out. Total darkness. A scream echoed from somewhere deep inside the station. A metal alarm started ringing. Reed grabbed Hannah's hand. "What's happening?" The guard whispered in the dark. "They have escaped." Total darkness swallowed the entire alien station. Dr. Hannah heard nothing except the sharp metallic alarm echoing again and again. General Reed stood completely still, trying to adjust his eyes. The alien guard's blue glowing suit flickered weakly, then died. For 2 seconds, everything was silent. Then, a loud crash shook the floor. Something heavy, very heavy, was running somewhere in the shadows. Reed whispered, "Hannah, stay close." "I am," she whispered back, her voice trembling. The guard spoke in a low voice. "Do not move fast. They search by sound." Another metal door slammed open somewhere far in the corridor. Then the scream came again, this time closer. Much closer. Hannah covered her ears. What was that? The guard breathed slowly. Another Drexen woke up. Maybe more. Reed clenched his jaw. "You said they were controlled." The guard replied, "Yes, under normal power. But the station is losing energy. Someone shut down our generators." Reed frowned. "Someone? You mean the Drexen didn't break out by accident?" The guard didn't answer. The ground shook again from another heavy step. Hannah whispered, "We can't stay here. We'll die in the dark." The guard nodded slowly. "Follow me. I know a safer room. But walk slowly. No sudden noise." He stepped forward, and Reed and Hannah followed behind him, each step soft and careful. But the station was huge, cold, and maze-like. Pipes overhead dripped water. The floor vibrated with distant movements. After a few meters, Reed whispered, "Stop." He heard breathing. Not human breathing. Something else was in the hallway. Heavy, wet, slow. The guard whispered, "Do not breathe loudly." But Hannah couldn't help it, her breath was fast. Reed tried to place a hand on her shoulder to calm her. Then, a head slowly appeared from the corner. A Drexen. Its eyes glowed white, staring straight at the three of them. Its sharp teeth shone in the dim light. Its nostrils flared as it smelled the air. Hannah closed her eyes tightly. The Drexen leaned forward. It growled. A low, rumbling vibration. The guard slowly raised the blue device again. But nothing happened. He pressed it again, harder. Still nothing. "The device is dead," he whispered. Reed whispered, "Then what do we do now?" The guard stared at the creature. "There is only one way. Do not run. Do not scream. Move back slowly." They stepped backward 1 inch at a time. But then, a loud siren blasted from the ceiling. Hannah gasped. The Drexen roared. In 1 second, it lunged forward. Reed grabbed Hannah's arm and pulled her behind a metal pillar. The Drexen's claws smashed the floor where she had been standing. The guard jumped sideways and yelled, "Run now!" This time they had no choice. They ran. The Drexen's roar filled the hallway as it chased them with terrifying speed. Each step shook the metal floor. His claws scraped loud against the walls. Reed shouted, "Left!" They turned left. A blast of gas burst from a broken pipe. Hannah coughed but kept running. The guard shouted, "There! The safe room!" A thick steel door was ahead. Reed reached it first and pushed the panel. Nothing happened. "No power!" Reed yelled. The guard rushed forward and pulled out a small glowing key. "Move!" He shoved the key into the side slot. The door unlocked halfway. The Drexen's shadow appeared at the far end of the hall. Hannah screamed. The guard pushed the door open enough for them to squeeze inside. Reed dragged Hannah in. The guard entered last and slammed the door shut just as the Drexen reached it. Boom! The monster smashed against the door. The metal bent but didn't break. Boom! Another hit. Hannah crouched down, shaking. Reed sat beside her. The guard locked the door completely. "It won't hold forever. But we have time." Reed looked around the room. The safe room was small, filled with strange alien control panels and screens. Emergency lights glowed faint red. Hannah finally spoke. "How many Drexen escaped?" The guard answered slowly. "At least 3. Maybe more." Reed asked, "Who shut down the power? Is someone trying to kill us?" The guard sat on a metal seat. His face looked troubled. "It was not an accident. Someone shut down the power from inside." Reed frowned. "Inside? You mean another alien sabotaged this place?" The guard hesitated, then shook his head. "No, not alien." Reed froze. Hannah stared. "What do you mean?" Reed asked. The guard touched the control panel. A hologram appeared. It showed camera footage, grainy, dark, flickering. Footage of the power control room. A figure walked inside the room. Slowly. Reed narrowed his eyes. Who is that? The guard zoomed in. The figure was wearing a spacesuit. A human spacesuit. With Earth markings. Reed stood up instantly. That's impossible. No human came here with us. The guard shook his head. This human did not come with you. He arrived earlier. Hannah's voice was barely a whisper. Earlier? How did he even get here? The guard looked at them both. Because he did not travel with us. He used the same forbidden signal from Earth, the one that awakened the Drexen. Reed's eyes widened. The Echo 9 signal? The guard nodded. Yes, whoever activated it also traveled through it. Hannah covered her mouth. So the person from Earth is in this station, right now? And he is the one who shut down the power? Yes. Reed clenched his fists. Who is he? What does he want? The guard slowly brought up the figure's face. It was blurry, distorted, but slowly cleared. Hannah gasped. Reed took a step back, because the face that appeared on the screen was a man both of them recognized. A man Reed never expected to see again. A man who vanished 5 years ago. A man declared dead by the government. But now he was here, alive, standing in the alien station, and smiling. The guard spoke the name. Commander Marcus Hale. Reed whispered, That's not possible. Marcus is dead. Hannah whispered, Then who is this? The guard answered softly, Someone who died on Earth, but was reborn in space. And then the safe room lights flickered again. Someone was overriding the door lock. Hale was trying to get in. The safe room lights flickered again. Beep, beep, beep. A digital error flashed on the door panel. Someone was hacking the lock from outside. Reed stepped forward and whispered, Hale! Why would he come here? Why shut down the power? Why release monsters? Hannah shook her head. He was our friend. He saved people. He wasn't like this. The alien guard stared at the door, worried. Whoever he is now, he is not the same man you knew. A loud metallic click echoed through the safe room. The lock seal disengaged. The door slowly creaked open. Cold air rushed inside. A shadow's outline appeared, first tall, confident, and slowly stepping inside the room. His helmet lights glowed white through the darkness. Commander Marcus Hale. Alive, breathing, smiling. But his smile wasn't normal. It was empty, cold, almost wrong. Reed whispered, Marcus, is that really you? Hale walked in with calm steps. General Reed, he said softly. His voice carried power but also a strange robotic tone. I knew you would follow the signal. You never disappoint. Hannah stood up. Marcus, everyone thought you died. The ship exploded. There was nothing left. Hale looked at her slowly. No, Hannah. Something was left. Me. The guard stepped between him and the humans. Commander Hale, why did you release the Drexen? Hale tilted his head. They were never prisoners. They are soldiers. Sleeping soldiers. Like me. Reed clenched his fists. You call that thing a soldier? It tried to kill us. Hale's eyes glowed brighter white. Because you are seen as invaders. Earth still thinks it owns the universe. You came here to make peace. But with who? A species you know nothing about. The guard frowned. Hale, you shut down our power. You caused chaos. Why? Hale took a slow breath. Because Earth is not ready for peace. He walked closer. And this station is not a peace project. Hannah backed away. Then what is it? Hale looked at her with a hollow smile. A testing ground. Reed's eyes widened. Testing ground? For what? For humans, Hale said. To see how they react when they face real monsters. The guard stepped forward, angry. You betrayed both sides. Hale looked at him coldly. No, I simply showed the truth. And the truth is humans fear what they can't control. Reed growled. Why are you doing this, Marcus? You were one of us. No, Hale whispered. I was chosen. His chest armor opened slightly, revealing strange alien circuitry glowing under his skin. Half human, half machine. Hannah gasped. What happened to you? Hale turned away slightly, as if remembering a painful memory. When my ship exploded, I didn't die. I was taken by a race older than anything you've met. They repaired me, made me stronger, showed me the future. Reed stepped forward. What future? A future where Earth is the real monster. His voice echoed through the small room. Hannah whispered, Marcus, this isn't you. This is brainwashing. Let us help you. He laughed softly. You still don't understand, Hannah. I'm not the victim. I'm the key. The Drexen outside growled again, smashing the wall. Hale didn't even look. They won't attack me. They follow me now. Reed's eyes widened. You control them? Hale nodded. Yes, just like I control the power in this station. He raised his hand. The lights in the room turned bright white instantly. The guard grabbed his weapon, but Hale lifted his other hand. A blue energy field surrounded the guard and threw him against the wall. Hannah screamed. Stop! Hale looked at her with emotionless eyes. You shouldn't be here, Hannah. None of you should. Reed rushed forward to tackle Hale, but another energy wave hit him and threw him back. Reed hit the floor, coughing. Hale walked toward him slowly. General Reed, he said in a quiet voice. This is not personal. This is evolution. Reed forced himself to stand. If evolution means killing innocent people, then you're no human anymore. Hale smiled faintly. Exactly. He turned his back to them and walked toward the control panel. Hannah helped Reed up. What is he doing? The guard coughed from the corner. He's reactivating the signal. Reed froze. The Echo 9? The guard nodded weakly. If he activates it here, it will send a new wave across the galaxy. Hannah frowned. What will it do? The guard whispered. It will wake more Drexen. Not just here. Everywhere. Reed's face turned pale. Billions. Hale touched the main control switch. Earth wants peace, he said softly. But peace comes only after fear. He lifted his hand toward the glowing switch. Hannah screamed, Marcus, please, don't. For 1 second he paused. His fingers hovered above the activation pad. He slowly turned his head toward Hannah. His expression softened. For a moment he looked like the old Marcus. The one who laughed with them. The one who risked his life to save others. Hannah, he whispered. But then the white glow in his eyes intensified again. The old Marcus vanished. The new one returned, and he slammed his hand down. But at that exact moment, the station shook violently. The floor cracked. A massive explosion boomed from below. The Drexen roared in pain outside. The guard shouted, Someone else is here. Reed yelled, Who? The guard shouted back, A ship just docked. Without permission. The lights flickered again. Hale looked genuinely shocked. Impossible. No one should be able to enter without my code. Reed stared at him. Maybe someone came to stop you. Hale stepped back from the control panel. The metal floor trembled as heavy footsteps approached from the corridor. But these weren't Drexen steps. These were organized, mechanical, precise. Reed whispered, Whoever that is, they're not monsters. Hannah whispered, Then who? The guard listened carefully. It's not human footsteps either. Hale's eyes narrowed. For the first time he looked afraid. The footsteps stopped outside the door. A calm, deep voice echoed from the hallway. Commander Hale, your evolution ends today. Hale's face turned pale. No, it can't be them. Reed stepped back. Who are they? Hale whispered one word. The architects. The entire room fell silent. Only the faint echo of the mysterious voice remained in the air. Commander Hale, your evolution ends today. Reed felt a chill run down his spine. Hannah's trembling hand tightened around his sleeve. Even the alien guard looked terrified. But Hale, he looked shocked for the first time. He whispered, No. They were not supposed to come here. Not yet. Reed stepped slightly forward. Who are they? Hale didn't answer immediately. His eyes flickered with fear, anger, and disbelief. Then he said the name again, slowly. The architects. Hannah whispered. What are architects? Another alien race. The guard spoke in a hollow voice. Not alien. Not machine. They are something in between. They create technology, living technology. Reed frowned. You mean they created those monsters? No, the guard said. They created everything the Drexen are built from. Before Reed could ask anything else, the door slid open. Not smashed. Not forced. It simply opened, quietly, smoothly, like it was obeying someone's command. And 3 tall figures walked inside. They weren't Drexen. They weren't human. They weren't robots. They were something entirely different. Their bodies were metallic but not shiny. More like matte stone mixed with living muscle. Lines of soft white light pulsed through their limbs like veins. Their faces had smooth masks with no eyes. Only a single glowing symbol floating where a face should be. Reed grabbed Hannah's arm. Stay back. The architects moved with perfect silence as if they didn't even touch the ground. Hale stepped forward, rage building in his voice. You have no right to interfere. The leading architect tilted its head slightly. Its voice was calm, deep, and controlled. We gave you a chance, Marcus Hale. Path to evolve. Path to lead. And you failed. Hale clenched his fists. I followed your instructions. I woke the Drexen. I weakened Earth. I created fear. Fear is not evolution, the architect replied. Fear is chaos. And you chose chaos. Reed stared in disbelief. Hale. They used you? Hale snapped. They saved me. The architect shook its head. We repaired your body, but we did not save your mind. You lost yourself. Hannah stepped forward carefully. If he lost himself, then return him. Help him. The architect turned toward her slowly. When a mind willingly destroys peace, it cannot return. Hale shouted. I didn't destroy peace. I revealed the truth. The architect's glowing symbol pulsed bright white. Your truth was distorted. You believed humans are monsters. But humans are simply young. Reed blinked. Young? Yes, the architect said. Your species is still learning. Still growing. Still discovering the universe. You are not monsters. You are children. Hale growled. Children destroy everything they touch. The architect replied. That is why we guide them, not punish them. Hannah stepped between Reed and the architects. Her voice was shaky but brave. Then why create things like Drexen? Why build monsters? All 3 architects turned toward her. The leader answered. The Drexen were not created to be monsters. They were protectors, guardians. Until someone, he looked at Hale, used them as weapons. Reed pointed at Hale. He controlled them with the signal. Yes, the architect said. He stole the Echo 9 blueprint and activated it without permission. Hale laughed. Permission? You wanted me to evolve. I did. The architect's voice turned colder. Evolution requires wisdom, not destruction. You are incomplete, Marcus Hale. A broken creation. For a moment Hale froze. A broken creation. The words stabbed deep. Hannah whispered. Marcus, please stop. Let them fix this. Hale's voice cracked. Fix? They don't want to fix me. They want to erase me. The architect stepped closer. Not threatening. Not aggressive. But firm. We want to restore balance. You broke the rules. And you risked the galaxy. Hale backed away, shaking his head. No, I won't let you control me again. His armor opened. The alien circuitry under his skin glowed bright blue. Energy burned around his hands. Reed pulled Hannah back. Get down! Hale screamed and released a massive energy blast toward the architects. But the architects didn't move. The energy wave hit an invisible barrier just inches from their bodies. And vanished. Hale gasped. No, impossible. The architect said calmly. Your power came from us. You cannot harm us. Reed whispered. Then why don't you stop him? Because, the architect replied. He must choose. Hale looked confused. Angry. Lost. Choose what? Choose to return, the architect said. or choose destruction. Hale trembled. His body flickered with unstable energy. His human side struggled. His machine side fought back. Reed shouted, "Marcus, you can still come back. Fight it." Hannah cried, "Marcus, please, don't let them take you." The architect stood silently, waiting. Hale shook, stepping backward until he hit the metal wall. He looked at Reed, then at Hannah, then at his own trembling hands. "I tried," he whispered. "I tried to make Earth stronger. I tried to be something more. But all I became was—" His voice cracked. "A mistake." The lights in the room flickered. Hale's eyes glowed brighter, then dimmed. He whispered again, "A mistake." The architect's symbols softened. One of them stepped forward and placed a hand on Hale's shoulder. "Then let us end your pain." A soft white light spread from the architect's hand, covering Hale's body. Reed whispered, "What are they doing?" The guard answered quietly, "They are shutting him down." Hannah reached out as if trying to stop it. "No, wait." But it was too late. Hale fell to his knees. The white light entered his chest, spreading through every circuit, every vein. Hale's voice was barely audible. "Reed, Hannah, I'm sorry." Then silence. His glowing eyes dimmed completely. His body went still. The architect stepped back as Hale's armor turned dark and lifeless. Commander Marcus Hale was gone. Reed lowered his head. Hannah covered her face, tears falling silently. Even the alien guard bowed his head with respect. But the architects were not finished. The leader turned to Reed and said, "The real monsters are still coming." Reed looked up, shocked. "What do you mean?" The architect's symbol pulsed brighter. "The Drexen you saw were only the sleepers, the smaller ones. The true forms, the real Drexen, are awakening." The station trembled violently. A distant roar, deeper, stronger, older, echoed through the walls. The architect continued softly, "Prepare yourselves. Your hardest fight begins now." The station shook again, harder this time. Loose metal panels rattled. Sparks fell from the ceiling, and the floor vibrated like something massive was moving beneath it. Reed steadied himself. What was that? Another Drexen. The architect's glowing symbol dimmed for a moment, then brightened again. "No," the architect answered. "That was one of the real Drexen waking up." Hannah wiped her tears quickly and stepped forward. "Then what were those creatures we saw before?" "Larvae," the architect said calmly. "Children." Reed's eyes widened. "Children? Those things were huge." The architect responded, "A true Drexen is almost 10 times larger, stronger, smarter. They were never meant to fight humans, until Marcus Hale changed them." Another roar shook the entire room. A deep, ancient roar that made the floor tremble like an earthquake. The guard whispered, "If the real Drexen are awake, this station will not survive." Reed turned toward the architects. "Then why are you still here? Why didn't you leave before they awakened?" The lead architect lowered its head slightly. "Because we cannot leave until the damage Marcus Hale caused is repaired." Hannah stepped closer. "What damage?" The architect raised one hand. A hologram projection lit up the room. A giant chamber beneath the station. A pulsating black sphere floating in the center. Energy chains holding it down, and cracks spreading across its surface. Reed felt cold. "What is that?" The architect answered slowly. "The core dweller. The first Drexen." The guard gasped. "It's breaking free." Hannah whispered, "What happens if it escapes?" The architect turned toward them. "If the core dweller wakes, it will not stop. It will not think. It will only destroy." Reed's heart pounded. "Destroy what?" "Everything." Another massive shockwave hit the station. This time, screens shattered. A hallway collapsed somewhere outside. The safe room door bent inward as if pushed by something gigantic. Reed shouted, "We need to get out of here." The architect responded gently, "Leaving will not save you. Not anymore." Hannah frowned. "Then what will?" All three architects raised their hands toward the center of the room. Bright lines of white energy formed a circle, floating, spinning. glowing like a miniature sun. "What is that?" Reed asked. "A gateway," the architect replied. "A path to the core chamber." Reed stepped back. "You want us to go down there? Where the real monster is waking up?" "Yes," the architect said simply. Hannah whispered, "Why us?" The architect turned its faceless mask toward her. "Because only humans can shut down the Echo 9 signal at its source. Only humans can reach the main console. We cannot touch it. Marcus Hale designed it to be human-locked." Reed cursed under his breath. "Of course he did." The guard nodded. "It makes sense. He wanted to be the only one who could control the Drexen. But now," the architect said, "he is gone, and someone must take his place." Reed stared at the glowing circle. Going down there meant facing the true Drexen, facing the core dweller, facing whatever Hale awakened. He looked at Hannah. She looked scared, yet determined. "We can't let Earth be destroyed," she whispered. Reed nodded. "We're going." Before stepping through, Reed turned to the architect. "Will you help us?" The architect bowed its head. "We will protect you, but we cannot make the final decision. That duty belongs to you." Reed took a deep breath. Then he stepped through the glowing portal. The core chamber. The air on the other side was hot, heavy, almost alive. The chamber was enormous, large enough to hold a skyscraper. The walls pulsed like the inside of a giant creature. Strange alien vines covered everything, moving slowly like breathing. At the center floated the core dweller, a black sphere bigger than a house, wrapped in glowing chains of energy that flashed red with every heartbeat. Cracks spread across its surface, leaking a dark mist that felt like fear itself. Hannah whispered, "It looks like an egg." The guard shook his head. "No, that is its true form. A living void." Suddenly, a giant shape moved in the shadows. Then another. Then another. 3 real Drexen stepped out. Each one was 8 meters tall, with bone armor, long claws, glowing white eyes, and massive jaws filled with rows of knife-like teeth. Reed whispered, "We're dead." But the architects appeared behind them, their bodies glowing brighter. "Go to the console," the architect commanded. "We will hold them." The Drexen roared and charged. The architects raised their arms. The collision shook the entire chamber. Reed grabbed Hannah's hand and ran toward the far end where a fallen platform stood, half broken but still intact. A holographic panel flickered on the platform. Hannah shouted, "This must be the control." Reed slammed his hand onto the panel. It flashed red. "Lock. Marcus Hale required." Reed cursed loudly. "It needs Hale's biocode. What do we do now?" Hannah stared at the crack in the panel. "Marcus is gone. But his armor isn't." Reed's eyes widened. "His armor has his DNA." They turned back toward the portal. Hale's lifeless body lay near the safe room. Hannah whispered, "We need it." Reed looked at the fighting architects, barely holding the Drexen back. They had minutes, maybe seconds. "Hannah, stay here," Reed said. "I'll get the armor." Hannah grabbed his arm. "No, we do this together." They ran back through the portal. The safe room. Hale's body still lay on the floor, dark and silent. Reed knelt beside him. "Marcus, I'm sorry it came to this." He removed Hale's chest plate, pulling out a glowing crystal chip with his biosignature. The station shook harder. A voice echoed from the chamber. "Hurry!" Hannah and Reed ran back through the portal. The core chamber. The architects were failing. One was thrown against the wall, cracks spreading across its chest. Another was pinned under a Drexen's massive claw. The last one stood alone, struggling to hold a barrier around the humans. The core dweller roared, its cracks glowing bright red now. "Reed now!" Hannah screamed. Reed slammed Hale's biochip into the console. The hologram flashed. "Access granted." A large button appeared. "Shut down signal." Reed hovered his hand over it. The architect shouted, "Before you press it, know this. Shutting the signal will freeze all Drexen forever, even the harmless ones. Their species will die." Hannah gasped. All of them? Even the babies? Yes. Reed's hand shook. The architect continued, but if you do not end the signal, the core dweller will awaken. And everything, Earth, your cities, your people, will burn. Reed froze. A choice. A horrible choice. Hannah whispered, Reed, what do we do? Reed closed his eyes, breathed once, and pressed the button. A blinding light exploded across the chamber. The Drexen froze mid-roar. The core dweller's cracks stopped growing. The mist vanished. The chains tightened and pulled the creature down until it turned black and still. Silence. Total silence. Then, the architects lowered their arms. It is done, the leader said softly. Reed collapsed to his knees. Hannah cried quietly. The guard bowed his head in sorrow and relief. The architect approached Reed. You saved your world, it said gently, and you ended a species that could not control its own power. Reed whispered, Does that make us the monsters or the protectors? The architect's symbol glowed white. You are neither, it said. You are human. And today, that was enough. The portal opened again, leading back to their ship and to Earth. Reed and Hannah took one last look at the silent, frozen Drexen and stepped through.